Welcome to Sports Talk with King Vaughn. Today is Monday, and yesterday I did pretty good. I went 14-2 on my picks yesterday. Way better than what I was doing beforehand last week. But let's talk about the games I messed up on today. The Vikings versus the Panthers. I thought the Panthers were going to win because they were both pretty bad teams, but I thought the revenge arc for Adam Thielen was going to be enough to push him over. It wasn't. I also thought Andy Dalton was starting. I believe if Andy Dalton started that game, they would have won. And the other one is the Texans over the Steelers. I didn't expect the best defense in the league, or one of the best defenses in the league, to lose to the Texans offense. Just wasn't expecting it. And the Texans defense only gave up 7 points. Wasn't expecting that. But Kenny Pickett did get hurt during the game. So if there's an excuse, that would be it. Okay, let's talk about some injuries from yesterday. Pickett is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Pickett's going to be out we'll have an MRI tomorrow, but we think an ACL tear. Evans will be out for a couple of weeks with a hamstring issues from last game. We saw him on the bike, but I don't think he'll be back. Higgins has some cracked ribs. He'll be out next week. He'll probably be back for week 6, though. Herbert and Adams are good to go, though. They got taped up, and it was just a couple play injury. I think they'll both be fine for the following week. Okay, let's talk about baseball. Today, there was no movement in the wild cards. So the wild cards are locked up. Here are your matchups. And tomorrow I will have more insight on each of these matchups. We have the Rangers versus the Blue Jays, the Rays versus the Twins, the D-backs versus the Brewers, and the Marlins versus the Phillies. Since the Astros won the West, they moved straight on to the ALDS. Okay, that's enough about yesterday. What's happening today? Monday Night Football. Seahawks versus Giants. Here's a little parlay you can put on that will for sure hit. First, you have Graham Gano over 1.5 field goals. I believe that the Giants offense will be able to move enough to get into field goal range, but the second they get there, they're going to be stuck because Seattle has a top red zone defense in the league. And the Giants offense is already not good, but they were starting to click at the end of last week. So I believe they'll be able to move it until they get to the red zone and then have to kick field goals. With that being said, Daniel Jones is going to have over 20.5 completions. I know it's a lot, but I believe that he'll get it because the Seattle's defense is not really that good, or they're good, they're just inexperienced. Darren Waller over 47.5 receiving yards. The Seahawks give up the most yards to tight ends in the league, and Darren Waller is already Daniel Jones' favorite receiver. So compare those two up together, and it's a surefire thing for Darren Waller to get over 47.5 receiving yards. And the last one is Geno Smith over 1.5 touchdowns. I think he'll get that because I think it's going to end up being a blowout, or not a blowout, but it's going to be a high-scoring game where Geno Smith is going to be passing a lot. So 2 passing touchdowns isn't that hard to believe. And another thing you get out of this parlay is Seahawks money line. It probably won't boost your earnings that much, but this is another thing that's going to hit. And I believe they're going to win because they've looked back into form after that week 1 loss. I think they're back to how they were last season. Geno Smith has looked like he can take control of a game where Daniel Jones has not this year. And Barkley is still out. So if you're going to trust Matt Breida to be your main back, I just don't see a way you win with Matt Breida as your main back. And their defense is more banged up. And their offensive line, both starting tackles are not playing. You can't try to win a football game when both starting tackles are out your game. You can ask the Titans how that works. It doesn't. Thank you for watching Sports Talk with King Von.